Here's your cinematic 1,400-word VIP story based on your title. Title: Prison gang leader beat a new black inmate, had no clue. He was a former boxing champion. The clang of metal doors echoed down the long, dim corridor as the new inmate was led in, his wrists cuffed, his face calm. His name was Darius Cole, once a professional boxer known as the Iron Fist of Detroit. But that life was gone. Now, he was inmate number 47321, just another man swallowed by the system. The guards didn't care who he used to be. They shoved him into a crowded cell block, laughter and curses bouncing off the concrete walls. The place smelled of sweat, fear, and survival. "Fresh meat," someone muttered from the upper bunk. All eyes turned to Darius. Tall, broad-shouldered, but quiet. He didn't posture like the others. He didn't need to. He just looked around, scanning every face, every gesture, with that sharp, calculating calm only fighters have. At the far end of the cell block sat Reggie, the Wolf, Sanders, the prison's self-proclaimed king. Tattoos crawled up his neck, his eyes cold and cruel. Everyone knew his rule. New inmates paid tribute, or paid in blood. "Yo, Wolf," one of his men whispered, pointing. "New guy looks like he think he's tough," Reggie smirked. "Ain't no tough in my house." That night, as Darius tried to rest, a shadow fell over his bunk. Reggie and 3 of his crew stood there smirking. "You new here, huh?" Reggie said, twirling a homemade shank between his fingers. "You didn't pay your rent, brother." Darius looked up slowly. His voice was deep, calm. "Didn't know there was a fee for breathing." Laughter. Cruel, mocking. "Oh, he got jokes," Reggie said. "How about we teach him some respect?" The punch came fast, but not faster than Darius's reflexes. He caught Reggie's wrist midair. The room froze. Reggie's eyes went wide. "Let go," he hissed. Darius did. But the moment he released him, Reggie swung again. This time, Darius didn't block. He took it, barely flinching. Then, with one slow turn of his head, he looked Reggie dead in the eye. "Don't do that again." Something in his voice, quiet, steady, made the whole cell block silent. Reggie sneered. "We'll see about that, champ." He didn't know how right he was. Over the next few days, rumors spread like wildfire. Some said the new guy had the hands of a killer. Others said he'd once knocked out a heavyweight champion in the first round. But no one knew the truth. Darius never bragged. He just did his chores, kept to himself, and stared out through the bars like a man who'd seen too much. But prison has a way of testing every secret. 2 weeks later, Reggie decided to put an end to the whispers. During lunch hour, his men cornered Darius near the courtyard wall. "Still think you're better than us, huh?" Reggie taunted, cracking his knuckles. Darius didn't answer. He just sighed, his voice low. "You don't want to do this." "Oh, I do," Reggie grinned, raising his fists. "Let's see what you got, tough guy." The first swing came wild, a street punch full of rage. Darius slipped it like air. The second came from the side. Blocked. The third, countered. In 3 moves, Reggie was off balance, gasping, confused. Then Darius's right fist came up like thunder. One clean hook. Reggie's body hit the ground before his mind even registered the pain. The courtyard erupted in chaos. Inmates yelling, guards rushing in. But Darius didn't move. He just stood there, staring down at the man who'd tried to break him. The guards dragged them both apart, shouting, batons raised. Darius didn't fight back. Later that night, the warden called him into the office. "Cole," the warden said, flipping through a file. "You were Darius Cole, the boxer?" Darius didn't answer. The warden sighed. "You could have killed him." "I warned him," Darius said quietly. "I'm not here to fight anymore." The warden leaned back, studying him. "Then why are you here?" Darius's eyes lowered. "Wrong place, wrong time. I was protecting someone." The warden didn't press. But from that day, things changed. Reggie, bruised and humiliated, didn't speak for a week. But humiliation breeds hate, and hate in prison is a dangerous thing. He started plotting. One night, the lights went out early. A planned blackout. Darius was reading a letter from his daughter, Mia, the only bright thing left in his life. The paper smelled faintly of crayons. She was 8. Her words were simple. "Daddy, I know you'll come home soon. I'm proud of you." Before he could even fold it back, footsteps echoed behind him. "Miss me, champ." Reggie. 3 men came out of the shadows, makeshift blades glinting in the dark. This time, Darius didn't hold back. It wasn't a fight, it was a storm. He moved like the man he once was. Precise, explosive, unstoppable. A punch to the gut, a twist, a jab, a knee strike, everything in perfect rhythm. Within seconds, 2 men were on the ground. Reggie stumbled back, terrified. You're crazy," he spat. "No," Darius said, breathing steady. "I'm disciplined." Reggie lunged again, and Darius disarmed him in one move, then pinned him to the floor. The blade clattered away. "You keep pushing people because you're scared," Darius said. "But fear doesn't make you strong. It makes you a slave." Guards rushed in, breaking it up. Reggie was dragged away, bleeding, screaming threats. Darius just stood there, chest rising and falling, eyes distant. A week later, the warden called him again. "Cole, you've got a visitor." It was his old boxing coach, Marcus Hayes. "Kid," Marcus said, shaking his head with tears in his eyes, "you were the best I ever trained." "What happened to you?" Darius shrugged. "I made a mistake. Got into a bar fight defending a woman. Guy ended up dead. I didn't even throw the first punch." Marcus looked at him long. "You still got those hands. What if I told you there's a boxing rehab program? Inmates fighting for charity. You'd train others. Help them control their anger, find purpose." Darius hesitated. "You think they'd let me?" They already said yes. That moment, that spark of hope, changed everything. Months passed. Darius began teaching other inmates, including some of Reggie's old crew, how to fight with discipline, not rage. He showed them how every jab had rhythm, how every punch could be a choice, not an impulse. Even Reggie eventually joined, limping into the ring one afternoon. "You still owe me a rematch," he grunted. Darius smiled faintly. "Then let's start by teaching you how to block." The fights became therapy. The men who once ruled with violence started finding respect through strength and control. Darius became more than a fighter. He became a leader, a mentor. By the time he was released 2 years later, he'd transformed not only himself, but dozens of others. Reporters called it the Redemption Gym. When the gates opened, Marcus was waiting with a duffel bag and a smile. "You ready, champ?" Darius looked back at the prison walls one last time. "I was ready the moment I stopped fighting for myself and started fighting for something bigger." Outside, his daughter ran into his arms. Her smile erased every shadow. "Daddy," she whispered. "Are you home now?" He hugged her tight. "Yeah, baby. For good." As they walked toward the setting sun, the old warden watched from afar, shaking his head. That man turned a prison yard into a ring of hope. And maybe, for the first time, the word champion meant something more than a title. It meant redemption. Morale. No matter how far you fall, redemption begins the moment you decide to stand. Not to destroy, but to rebuild. Strength isn't about power over others. It's about mastering yourself,